What's the best kind of archaeological find? Is it one that makes sense the moment it's found, or one that sparks a sense of wonder? If you're anything like us, you'll agree it's the second kind. We all love a good mystery, and if it's an ancient one that forced scientists to rethink, it's even better. Let's check out some of the most bizarre and puzzling ones ever unearthed from Earth. Number 15. The alchemical door of Rivedutri. There's a door in Rivedutri, Italy that leads to absolutely nowhere, or maybe that's the point. Known as the alchemical door or Porta Alchemica, it stood in this quiet Sabine village since the 17th century. When an earthquake struck in 1948 and flattened nearly everything else, the door remained untouched. That alone earned it a reputation for possessing something beyond the ordinary. The symbols carved into it still spark debate. Some are Christian, others pagan, alchemical, or even Kabbalistic. One interpretation suggests they refer to transmuting metals into gold. Another says they describe the soul's journey from ignorance to enlightenment. Whatever they mean, no one agrees on what walking through the door might do. Some claim it opens the mind, and others say it brings misfortune. Today it leads to a quiet memorial park dedicated to the victims of the earthquake. Yet the mystery remains: how it endured, why it was carved the way it was, and what it really signifies are still questions no one can clearly answer. Number 14. Fountain of 99 Spouts. The name of the Fountain of 99 Spouts in L'Aquila tells you almost everything archaeologists actually know about it. What we don't know is who built it or why. Architecturally, it's stunning. Most experts assume it dates back to the medieval era, and it features 99 carved faces, each unique, arranged around its spouts. These faces appear to be portraits of actual individuals, perhaps influential citizens from the 13th century. However, that doesn't explain why they're surrounded by so many non-Christian, often unsettling symbols. Among them are hybrid creatures, half human, half animal, and other demonic-looking figures. For a long time, scholars speculated that the 99 spouts might represent 99 castles that once existed in the area, but newer research suggests that the true number of castles was closer to 70 at most. And why stop at 99? Why not a clean 100? We have no idea, because the identity of the architect remains a mystery. Number 13. Tinkinswood Burial Chamber. Not far from Cardiff, in the Vale of Glamorgan, stands the Tinkinswood Burial Chamber, a Neolithic monument built around 6,000 years ago. It's best known for its enormous limestone capstone, which weighs nearly 40 tons and stretches over 20 feet long. It's the largest of its kind in Europe, and no one knows how ancient builders managed to move or position it. Naturally, legends followed. Local myths say that spending a night here alone on St. John's Day could either drive you insane, kill you, or turn you into a poet. Nearby standing stones are said to be women turned to rock for dancing on the Sabbath. While these tales are folklore, the structure itself remains a puzzle. How such a heavy stone was raised without modern tools remains unanswered. The monument still stands intact, and despite centuries of weathering, its purpose, power, and original method of construction continue to mystify archaeologists and storytellers alike. Number 12. King Ahiram's sarcophagus. Among the most mysterious ancient artifacts ever uncovered is the sarcophagus of King Ahiram, found in 1923 during excavations in Byblos, Lebanon. The stone coffin dates back over 3,000 years and is notable not just for its craftsmanship, but for the inscription on its lid. Written in the earliest known example of the full Phoenician alphabet, the inscription includes a chilling warning. It declares that anyone who opens the tomb will have their kingdom destroyed and lose their place in the afterlife. Though we're paraphrasing, that's the general meaning. A French archaeologist discovered the tomb, but it had already been looted centuries before. There's no record of whether those early grave robbers faced any consequences. Some historians think the Phoenician language reached peak refinement during King Ahiram's reign, and this tomb was a way to honor that. Despite all the studies, no one has dared to open the sarcophagus. Even today, researchers seem hesitant to challenge a warning etched in stone. Number 11. Petroglyphs of Ometepe Island. On Ometepe Island, rising from Lake Nicaragua's twin volcanic peaks, Over 2,000 engraved stones are scattered across the land. These aren't from the Nahua people who later settled here. They're older, carved by a civilization we still can't name. Some date back nearly 3,000 years. The petroglyphs display spirals, animals, humanoid figures, and geometric patterns. Many of the designs match those found on ancient pottery, hinting at cultural ties. But beyond that, we're in the dark. No written language survives, no temples, no scripts, just these silent rocks. Some experts think the carvings are ceremonial, maybe even celestial maps. Others say they were simple art, but no one knows. The people who etched them left nothing else behind. It's possible this is their entire historical record. Memories, beliefs, even myths, chiseled into basalt. They speak to us across centuries, but we no longer understand the language. Until we do, they remain as the only voices of a lost people, preserved in volcanic stone. Number 10. Animal-shaped mounds in Peru. When it comes to ancient art carved into the earth, Peru delivers again. Above its arid coastal plains, already world-famous for the Nazca lines, lie a series of massive animal-like mounds with details so distinct they've stirred serious debate. Most are clustered near the ruins of Chan Chan, where the most striking formation is a rock shaped like a condor's head. Some of these date back around 5,000 years, meaning they were crafted at the same time the pyramids were going up in Egypt. Their origin is unclear, but many experts now believe each animal represents a figure from the Andean zodiac. Others argue they mimic constellations, especially since some align astronomically, like the condor's charcoal eye that lines up with the summer solstice when viewed from the nearest ceremonial temple. Still, a few skeptics think the animals are nothing more than imagination gone wild, but with alignments this precise and the effort it took to carve them, dismissing them seems more like denial than logic. So what do you think about them? Number 9. Caynton Caves. At first glance, the entrance to the Caynton Caves in Shropshire looks like nothing more than an oversized animal burrow in a field. But if you squeeze through it, you'll enter a twisting network of underground tunnels and chambers. Some historians believe this was a hidden gathering site for the legendary Knights Templar. Not everyone agrees with that theory, though. Many archaeologists think the caves were likely carved in the 18th or 19th century, well after the Templar order was disbanded in the early 1300s. Still, no one knows for sure why these chambers were created or what they were originally used for. There are signs of occult rituals and black magic practices within, but experts believe these are much more recent, possibly left by modern practitioners who found their way inside. Since 2012, the site has been partially sealed off to prevent vandalism or further disturbances. Yet the true purpose behind the caves remains uncertain. Whether myth or misidentification, their origins are still cloaked in mystery. Number 8. The Chapel Oak of Allouville-Bellefosse. In Allouville-Bellefosse, France, there's a saying that the Chapel Oak is as old as France itself, and honestly, it's probably not far off. The tree doesn't look like it used to, though. Today, what you'll see is a massive hollow oak with a winding staircase around its trunk and not one but two tiny chapels inside. It's the oldest known tree in the country, possibly planted before the Norman conquest. Some claim Charlemagne once stood beneath its branches. Scientists estimate it's about 800 years old, though some say it could be even older. What makes it legendary is that in the 17th century, lightning struck the tree, split it open, and set it ablaze. But instead of dying, it survived, and a local priest saw an opportunity. The burnt core was hollowed and turned into a chapel. Despite its weathered look, the oak is still alive, growing new leaves every year. Few living things in Europe carry this much history inside their bark. Number 7. The Michigan Relics. Let's turn to a collection of objects known as the Michigan Relics, though some also call them the Scotford Hoax, which tells you everything about how archaeologists view them. If taken at face value, these artifacts, discovered in the late 19th century, seem to show that a pre-Columbian civilization from the Near or Middle East once settled in Michigan, USA. The man who claimed to have found them was James O. Scotford. He insisted they were authentic until his death. Some Mormon scholars have even tried to link the objects to narratives from the Book of Mormon, suggesting they offer physical proof of their scripture. But professional archaeologists disagree. The so-called hieroglyphs on these tablets, figurines, and vessels are inconsistent with any known language. Even worse, tool marks show signs of 19th century manufacturing techniques. The consensus is that the relics were deliberately created to fool people. Whether the motive was money, religious influence, or something else entirely, one thing's clear: they're not evidence of a lost civilization, but of a clever, enduring forgery. Number 6. Carnyx trumpets. If you were heading into battle in Iron Age Europe, your forces needed more than just swords and armor, you needed sound. Around 2,300 years ago, Celtic warriors entered combat, accompanied by a blaring instrument called the Carnyx. Crafted from bronze, these trumpets were often topped with stylized animal heads, wolves, serpents, or birds, intended to intimidate both enemy and spirit. While most historians believe the Carnyx was purely a battlefield tool, a recent study of one unearthed at Tinkinswood, France, has raised new questions. Its tube was found to be completely straight, making it impossible to play upright as ancient art depicts. That detail has led scholars to consider the possibility that not all Carnyxes were used for war. Some might have been ceremonial, perhaps reserved for sacred rites, processions, or funerals. Playing one horizontally would have been impractical during combat, but perfect for ritual use. These instruments may have called warriors to battle or ushered the dead into the afterlife. Number 5. Virtaka Cliff. You'd have to go way back in time to decipher the carvings on Virtaka Cliff in Latvia. This site holds what's believed to be the most extensive collection of Livonian petroglyphs anywhere in the world, and no one knows exactly how old they are. According to Livonian oral tradition, their people lived on this land for over 5,000 years, though this claim remains unverified. The Livonians are now considered extinct, with the last native speaker of their language having passed in 2013. The engravings, crosses, zigzags, circles, humanoid figures, and abstract patterns were discovered in 1986 by cave researcher Guntis Enens. He speculated that they might have served as territorial markers, though it's hard to understand why anyone would carve such markings in a place that's so remote and difficult to access. Most knowledge of the Livonians disappeared after the population was devastated during the 13th century Livonian Crusades. Because of that, these symbols remain an untranslatable message. Now let's move to number 4. Neo-Hittite statue. Some ancient art fits our expectations, but this Neo-Hittite statue, found in 2012 during the Tanum Archaeological project in southeastern Turkey, doesn't follow any known visual norms. With its round eyes, flattened face, and bold geometric shapes, the sculpture seems more like a pop culture icon than a relic of antiquity. Believed to have been part of a monumental gate complex, it once guarded the upper citadel of Kunalua, the capital of the ancient kingdom of Patina, around 3,000 years ago. The statue stands about 4 feet tall and was originally painted, though most color has faded. Its eyes were crafted from black and white stone for dramatic contrast. A series of Luwian hieroglyphs runs across its back, praising King Suppiluliuma, who resisted a Neo-Assyrian invasion in 858 BCE. What makes this find even more intriguing is that it appears to have been buried deliberately and respectfully, an act of preservation by the very people who created it. The Assyrians later conquered the site, but this statue somehow escaped destruction. Number 3. Mayan tobacco jars. Alcohol isn't the only ancient vice humans indulged in. Tobacco use also runs deep and may be older than we thought. Recent tests on ceramic jars from the Kislak collection at the U.S. Library of Congress revealed traces of nicotine embedded in their surfaces. These jars, which date back roughly 1,300 years, originated in the Campeche region of Mexico and are thought to have belonged to the ancient Maya. The glyphs etched onto them translate to home of tobacco, leading some scholars to speculate that they might even represent one of the earliest forms of branded goods. The discovery provides insight into the habits of the Maya long before European settlers ever arrived. While it's been known that Native American groups used tobacco, this evidence suggests the practice might have been passed down directly from the Maya. or perhaps it originated even earlier. Either way, these jars show that smoking wasn't just recreational, it held cultural weight. They hint at an industry, a trade, and perhaps even a ritual long since lost. Number 2. Tanum petroglyphs. The Tanum petroglyphs in Bohuslän, Sweden, are among the most significant ancient carvings in Northern Europe and have been protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1994. Thousands of figures stretch across 600 panels in a 25-kilometer area. Dating these carvings is difficult, but many depict people sailing short boats, matching imagery from the Scandinavian Bronze Age, roughly 3,800 years ago. Today, the site stands about 75 feet above sea level, but back then, it would have bordered the coastline. Locals have likely known about these images for generations, but they were officially recorded in 1627 by Norwegian scholar Peter Alfsund. Since then, countless excavations have focused on the most prominent rock surfaces, but none have uncovered any major settlements or structures nearby. That lack of context adds to the mystery. We don't know whether these engravings were sacred, commemorative, or even instructional. Until someone can decode their meaning, the petroglyphs remain a silent chapter of Bronze Age life, etched permanently into Sweden's stone. Alright guys, now let's end this with number 1. Ancient aqueduct system of Borujerd. In Borujerd, a discovery made by accident revealed just how smart ancient water engineering once was. During routine construction, workers stumbled upon an old aqueduct system, one that predates most historical records in the region. Built as part of a castle complex, the water system used pottery jars to help purify water, an age-old trick that proves simple solutions can be incredibly effective. Dating the structure has been difficult, but it's ancient enough that even the crocks used inside point to an early era. Borujerd itself was once a heavily fortified town surrounded by nearly 60 towers. This castle likely belonged to regional authorities, which would explain the care taken to guarantee clean water. The aqueduct is incredibly fragile, forcing archaeologists to consider whether to dismantle it for study or leave it intact. For now, they've chosen to document everything in place, carefully studying a delicate piece of engineering history that somehow lasted centuries underground without collapsing over time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.